friends. Today I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the DJI Phantom 3 and the blade systems that are involved in it and basic blade care and maybe some of the choices you have for blades. So if you've been flying the drone for a while, you understand very clearly how to attach the blades to the drone, but if you're a newbie, it may be something that you've got to spend a little time understanding. So if you look closely at the top of this, you'll see threaded studs on each of the motors, and then you've got 4 different blades. And if you look closely at the blades, you'll notice there are 2 silver blades and there are 2 black blades. These black top blades match up with the motors that have a black dot on the top of them. So 2 of the motors that are across from each other have a black dot on the top. And the way you attach them is you basically hold the motor, you lay the blade on top of it, and you spin the blade till it tightens up. And you'll feel it actually tighten up. And you go to the silver one and you spin it in the other direction, because again, this is a clockwise blade, this is a counterclockwise blade, and you can do the same on the front. Again, silver to silver. So I'll attach the silver one up there. And then black is across from black. And again, just spin it on tight like that. That's it. Now, a lot of my friends actually use this tool that comes with the drone, which is a tightening tool. I think it's an untightening tool, to be honest with you. But the danger is if you put this tool on there to actually hold the motor and then twist the blade, you can get a tremendous amount of torque at the center point. So I never use this to add the blades. I usually just put the blades on finger tight, make sure they're finger tight, and then I fly the drone. The reason for that is the way these motors are set up, when the motor's actually spinning, the air resistance on the blade forces the blade down tighter on that actual thread. So it's a self-tightening blade in a lot of respects, and you'll find the more you fly it, the tighter the blades actually get. So I do carry this tool with me because when I've flown for half a day and I'm changing batteries and I'm out there for a couple of hours, these things get really tight and it's almost impossible to break that connection, if you will, without having the tool. So I keep the tool around. The only time I use it again is to break that connection. Then I'll take it off and I'll actually spin this. My worry is that if I use that tool to tighten the blades, I feel like I could actually crack the system inside here or loosen up the system or damage the threads. These motors aren't cheap, so I don't like to do that. The blades themselves are fairly inexpensive. You can find them online for $2 or $3 a blade. I would recommend you buy them in pairs, and I would recommend you carry at least 2 pairs with you for the day because they can get damaged. Even if you don't crash and break the blades, if they hit a tree branch or they land a little funny and catch a little bit of grass or some high grass, you can get debris on them. And sometimes that debris can cause them to be unbalanced and you'll have problems with it flying later. So I always carry a couple of extra sets of blades with you, with me. One thing I would also suggest is very carefully inspect the blades before you leave for the day, because I've had a couple occasions where I've gone out for the day, grabbed a handful of blades, ran in the car and gone off to drone, and found out that I ended up with 3 silvers and 1 black, which isn't really a full set of blades. So try and keep an extra couple of sets with you. In addition to these blades, which are the standard blades that come with the copter and are the ones that most flyers use, I use these for probably 90% of my flying. There are other styles of blades that are available for it that you may want to use for special occasions. So one set of blades that I use probably, I don't know, occasionally when I'm flying, especially in high winds or I'm flying in difficult conditions where it's a little bit miserable weather-wise, are the carbon fiber blades. Now I have friends that use these all the time. I don't use them all the time, I only use them again under certain conditions. The difference between these blades you'll find out of the gate is the white ones are very, very flexible. The black ones are not. The carbon fibers are like hard as can be. The reason behind that is these tend to be extremely stiff and fly really well in adverse conditions. So if you've got a really windy day that you're trying to keep position on the drone, I use these blades and they work out great. The one downside of using these blades, and maybe it's just me, but I think they're louder. So when I'm flying with these blades, it seems to be a louder drone than it would be on a normal day. So that's why I don't use them all the time. But again, straightforward. You add them to the drone exactly the same way you did with the others. You just push down, spin the blade. If you find the right blade, let's try that again. There we go. Look at that. Perfect. And then you stick this one over here, and again, tighten it down, you're ready to rock and roll, and you can do the other 2 blades. And again, I don't keep these blades on all the time when I'm flying because of the noise, and I don't really think I need them, so they're kind of a specialty blade that I use for certain days. If I've got to get that one shot, or if I'm out there flying for the day, and all of a sudden the wind kicks up, I'm down by the shore and the wind can kick up pretty quickly, I'll put those blades on. The last style of blade that I've been playing with lately are these tri-blades, which are sort of like ninja stars, if you will. And you can see that the distance, they're shorter, but they cover the same amount of space, and there's more blade contact with the air. So with these, again, you'd attach them exactly the same as you do with the other blades. You spin them down nice and tight, and you're ready to rock and roll. And these are interesting because they have just enough clearance where they're not touching each other, but the blade surface that's actually interacting with the air is greater. So it gives you, I feel it gives you better lift and maybe a little better control if I'm looking to do exact positioning over a particular area. These tend to be a little bit better, but I don't fly with them that often. But I did pick up a set because I always like to experiment with new things, and these are the latest blades that are out. There's actually a version of these that are out there today that are not stiff. and by that I mean these have a fixed position on the center point. There's another set of them that actually have a swivel point here that you can fold the blades back when in transit, and then they'll spin themselves out to be a full blade. I haven't messed with those yet. I don't think I need them. I think I've got more than enough stuff to play with here with these blades. A couple of other quick thoughts. If you're serious about droning and you've got an expensive drone, you're probably going to want to find some way to carry it when you're out droning. So I've picked up a hard case that I actually use to transport the drone. You have a choice when you pick up one of those hard cases to find one that'll actually allow you to store the drone with the blades on or the blades off. The temptation will be to find a case that actually puts the drone in with the blades on it. And those are all well and good, but I just don't trust the fact that if I've got a drone in there and I've got the blades attached to it, I'm worried that inside that case, even though they're protected, it gets pushed down or it gets pushed up from underneath because maybe I've got my tablet over here or a battery over here and I set the drone on it. The problem is if it's in there for any length of time, it can definitely distort the blade. So my recommendation for good blade care is when you're done flying for the day, take the blades off. I always clean the blades. I keep a towel with me so I can wipe the blades off to make sure there's no debris on them. That way if I get dirt or I get something on them when I'm flying sap or something, if I touch the branch, it doesn't harden on the blade and I don't have to worry about replacing it. I also would recommend inspecting the blades before you put them on, especially inside here. And there are caps available online that you can buy that actually spin on here if you're going to transport them without the blades on. But more importantly, this inside spot right here, debris can get in there. Heaven forbid you got a spider in your case or something that could get up inside there. And if you don't look at that and you spin it right on, you're going to crush it in there and it's not going to seat correctly on the actual motor. So you want to be very careful to inspect those. I keep them in the standard DJI bag that came with the drone. You can also put them in a Ziploc bag. I have friends that fly that use Ziploc bags to protect them. But again, they're inexpensive, but they're the most critical part of the actual drone. And the last thing you want to do is get it up to 300 feet in the air and find out one of the blades has got issues because it'll return to home very quickly. So that's pretty much it for the blades today. I hope this was helpful, and if you have any questions, just ask them on the site, and make sure you subscribe. We would love to have you come back and see some other videos that we're producing. Thanks again. Have a great day.